What's up, War Report family? We are one half into the matchup between Auburn and Georgia. The score is Auburn 0, Georgia 14. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, guys, we want to remind you that this halftime show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Don't forget, guys, if you want to enter your picks in, use code rapport. They will match you 100% on your picks made. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring our halftime show. We are here. B. Will joins me again. Mike G is out for today. Just me and B. Will. Ike is at the game covering it live. One half down, 2 quarters in. B. Will, what are your initial thoughts of what you saw? I know it was tough, but let's hear from you.
Well, bravo to the defense. Bravo to this defense for giving us an opportunity, a chance. Now, they were gashing us a little bit with the run. That last drive, the last full drive. Well, not the last drive where they punted, but the drive before that where they scored that touchdown. But with linebacker play being a little bit questionable for us, that seems to be the one thing that a well-built team will be able to do is run the ball. So I'm not upset at that. I'm not upset that we've only given up 14 points at the half. For as little as we've moved the ball, that means our defense is out there giving us every opportunity. And we've let them down on offense. And that decision to go for the fake punt, I was so on it until they showed the clip showing that the last 2 teams Georgia played did a fake punt on them and got away with it. So they're going to be hypersensitive and ready for that one again. I mean, every trick play isn't a bad call, but the timing of when to call it's not a good look for the coaches. They are not calling these plays at the right time. That was a bad call. Don't give your defense a short field after what you've been doing. What they've been doing for you, man, you give them an opportunity. Pin these guys down on the 20, on their own 15, and then make them move the ball. Don't start them at hour 40 and have our defense try to hold up. I didn't like that call. But other than that, what have we seen? We've seen some opportunities there. We've seen what looks like youthful inexperience, honestly. That's almost everything that I've seen so far is a young quarterback on the road for the first time, in this environment for the first time, with opportunities there, with some throws available. Everything hasn't been completely blocked up for him perfectly, but you know what? There have been windows, and still young, still not knowing how to settle down and throw settled and with fundamentals every time. He's missing some easies out there, and it's keeping us from moving the ball and staying on the field.
Yeah, I think for me, you have to say kudos to the Auburn defense. If you was to tell me at the end of the first half that Auburn was going to have 137 total yards of offense, but Georgia would be ahead only by 6 yards. They only have a total of 143 yards too. I'll be feeling a lot better about the game. Also, there's 2 scores, again, short field, special teams.
Right.
We failed to cover the punt return. They get it down deep in our own territory, short field for the defense to work with. Also, again, as you alluded to, the decision to do the fake punt also buried our defense deep. They're playing well, so you don't want to punish those guys by making decisions that puts their backs against the wall and gives them a limited field to stop Georgia's offense or get them going on the road. One of the things that stood out to me, B. Will, has just been how putrid and how undisciplined we've looked. Isaiah Crutcher here says offense beating themselves. Guys, 8 penalties. Now, one of the penalties was an offsides call on Derek Hall. I think there was a Georgia did a hard count. He jumped across. We gave him a play, but we were able to get off the field. The other penalties were on offense, whether it was a false start, a holding call. And this was some of the things that I pointed out that was hurting us last week in the second half. We were moving the ball at times, but as soon as we would move the ball, there would be a false start. We would get behind the chains, and now we're playing catch up. This was happening continuously with this team. Talk about the play of the offensive line so far.
Well, the offensive line, there was one play early. I think it was the very first drive, and they sent 3 guys. We had like 6 people in the block, and we let a guy through clean.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens, man. I don't know how that happens with that many bodies. The right guard was looking the
I think it
wrong
was
way.
Alec Jackson who was the right guard at that point.
Yeah. It's not good. Now, Robbie's had some time here and there. He was doing a really good job, really up until the drive where he fumbled. He was in the game still. His head was still in the game. He was moving, bailing a little early, and to me, it looked like they kind of coached some of the risk taking out of him. He wasn't going to make some throws that maybe they were there, but he wasn't going to risk it. He was just going to tuck and run if he didn't like what he saw initially. And I don't think that's a bad strategy against a team like Georgia and on the road. But that fumble was an unforced error again.
Yeah.
Another unforced error that killed the best drive we had all game so far.
Yeah.
And it's youth. It's youth, man. It's hard to be upset at Robbie. I'm more upset that Robbie's in a situation where his first road game is right now, is in this situation.
Yeah.
That is his third game starting and his first road game, and he's a freshman. It's hard to be upset at him. This offensive line, though, like you said, it kind of is what it is. I think it's possible to play worse as an offensive line. We've got the right guy at quarterback. He's the right guy. He can make the defense a little hesitant with his skill set, but he has to be almost perfect for us to be able to move down the field. Perfect on throws, perfect on decisions to go or stay, perfect on reads. If he's not going to be perfect, we don't have a shot in this game to even make it interesting.
Let's grab some comments here. Johnny H says maybe we'll switch trends and score all of our points in the second half.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't want us to end up with 0 at the end of this game. That would be all-time bad. So yes, I hope we do switch trends. D-Mac, welcome to the family. Appreciate you joining our community. Tori Moore, also welcome to you as well. Roger also says, I wish I was out for the day. I need a hobby. I feel you, man. James Sawyer says that fake punt was deflating, especially with how the defense was playing until this point. They're still playing well.
Yeah.
They're still playing well. They just got put in a bad situation. You can't expect to keep holding Georgia to no points when you're giving them short fields.
Right. It's not going to last too long. Yeah.
They're playing well. Even still, despite that, how well they continue to play remains to be seen, but they're playing well up to this point. P. Anderson says short crossing routes appear to work for Robbie. He's got to dial back the heat on the ball, though. Again, I think that is a youthful. That is something that a young player does. I think that, and this is something that was mentioned even in fall camp, that when his adrenaline gets going, he puts some heat on it.
Right.
Shanker bailed him out on that drive that you mentioned that culminated in a fumble, but Shanker bailed him out on that play, but he put a lot of heat. Can't expect Luke Dill or really anybody to come down with that ball considering how hard he threw it.
Right. Yeah. And I don't, again, this is, as a freshman, I expect some of this. I mean, we were talking through last year when Bo was QBing, and we were talking through some of the same mistakes that he was making early in the season and even later against defenses like Texas A&M and of course Georgia. But this is what a tough defense makes you do. You can't relax. You can't be at ease and still play attentively. You get tight because you know your mistakes are going to be capitalized on. And maybe that's not so much the case with the Missouri, and you're not feeling quite that way about LSU. But with Georgia, you know it's the case. So it looks like he's playing tight, and man, it is just. I mean, I feel for the kid in certain ways because he has to be great for us to be good as a team, but also, hey, this is that spotlight, and these are those hard lessons that they're going to learn to make all these players better going forward, hopefully.
Marcus Rick says Robbie seems nervous or fidgety. He's leaving the pocket too soon.
Yeah, man, that pressure's around him. He feels it.
Yeah, his clock is kind of out of whack right now. Cleveland Brown says Harson's law strikes again. So frustrating.
If that's the law of those trick plays, and yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Blake Kraft asks, "B. Will, do we still cover?"
Let me see. We're down 14 right now. Covering would be 2 more touchdowns and us not score at all. Honestly, probably. If Georgia gets up 28-0, which I seriously hope we don't get shut out here, but if they do, then they're going to take their foot off the gas. Especially if we still can't move the ball the entire second half the way we have in the first. There's a good chance that we could cover backdoor cover. They're up 28. We get a field goal at the end or something like that. Yeah. But with how little we've been able to score, which is none, I wouldn't go back and rebet on us to cover. If your money's already in, yeah, we got a chance. But if not, I wouldn't put it down.
Unleashed Magazine, welcome back.
What up?
Actually, Uzi says O-line is horrible. I don't care anymore. Bring some freshmen or some sophomores on or in. The O-line has not played well. This has not been a good game for them. Has not been a good game for them. There's no other way to say that. Tori Moore says, I like the fake punt call. If we get that one block on the end, we are talking differently right now. Perhaps.
See, that's the thing. If we could say if with one block on a lot of plays, and that's kind of our problem. We're not batting 100 on any play, it seems like.
I don't think, the thing is situationally, the timing of the game right now, it's not like Georgia has Auburn. It's not like Georgia had Auburn on his heels and Auburn had to do something. The game was knotted at 0. You're deep in your own territory. Your defense was stopping Georgia. Georgia was not moving the ball.
Right.
The timing of that call is what really turned the tide of this game, and is really what put us now. Our offense, we're not in a situation where we can come from behind, so you don't want to make that call and put your defense in a bind to make a stop. You don't make a stop. Now the pressure is on you to do something offensively now. That's why I don't like how the magnitude of that call was just, I don't think you make it there. I just don't think you make it there.
I'm with you.
B. Will, going into the second half, pick one. Just pick one thing. What does Auburn do to just improve, just to sustain drives? I got one. You may take it. What can Auburn do?
I think we're actually calling the right game plan. Honestly, I think we're calling the game is being called well. We're not executing, and we're playing a little nervous on the road. And if your offensive line is going to be leaky, if they're not going to be able to recognize assignments, then that pressure is going to get through. The QB gets nervous. The easiest thing that they can do, they're still calling plays. Well, let me take that back. He's still having to hold the ball too long for these plays that are developing. It's got to be quick stuff. It's got to be stop routes. It's got to be screen passes. It's got to be some bubbles, and it's got to be something that is 1-2 out. 1-2 out. And if that's not in the game plan, though, if they didn't practice that all week, 1-2 out combined with the run game, then I don't know if you could just turn it on now. But how much does that offense look different the first half, where if we just don't get any false starts? We get to the 2nd and 1, and then we false start, and then we're 2nd and 6. And I mean, we're I don't want to say we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because this is what their crowd noise does. This is what our home field does for us when we're at home, is they buy us some errors for the other team's offense. So it's not all just us. It's also what the other team has as an advantage at home. But if they were going to do anything to get around it, we just have to make something very simple and very quick. And it still looks a little too long drawn to me, some of the plays that are being called. Yeah,
for me, it's this right here. Lee Vance hit the nail on the head. The penalties, there's never a good time for a penalty. But my goodness, they come after a first down, or we get ahead of the chains. We win first down. We get a good 4-6 yards, and then here comes a holding call. Here comes a false start, and it's 2nd and long again. It's 3rd and long again. Those have to stop.
Yeah.
Those have to stop in the second half, because you can't even hope to score in the second half if you're killing your drives by these penalties. Unforced errors is what I call them. There was a key drop by Corey Moore. Again, the ball gets thrown your way. You gotta help this QB out, because again, as people alluded in the comments, he's playing nervous. This is a big game for him on the road, a lot of crowd noise. If he gets the ball to you, you gotta come down with it. You gotta help him out. You have a young QB, everyone has to help this QB out.
Yeah.
So to me, I think as simple as that. Help your quarterback. Stop the penalties. Come down with the ball if it's thrown your way.
Yeah.
Defensively,
I mean, we'll see.
Defensively, keep doing what you're doing.
Well, they're not going to have to keep trying to throw the ball much, Georgia. If they get another score on us, then the margin's going to be too wide for them to even need to try to pretend to throw, because we've held them down very well with Stetson trying to throw the ball. So we are one more Georgia score away from just getting it run at us. And, with where our personnel weaknesses are, that's not what we need to see. So defense, cross the fingers. Hope they aren't out there all game. Even if we can't score, then we need to possess the ball for a really, really long time.
Control Chaos says the fact that I was worried Harsin would go for it on 4th and 10 and a home end zone tells you everything you need to know. Yeah. Again, it's we know that there's going to be a trick play called here and there. It's just the timing of it. And then you alluded to it earlier, B. The timing of when some of these have been called have not been good, and it's actually cost us. Again, you want to call a trick play, call it in such a way to where if you don't convert, it isn't a backbreaker. Yeah. This one was.
Yeah, man.
It was special teams. Special teams has been quiet outside of the fake punt call, which I blame more so on coaching than anything.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Punt coverage has to be better. I mean, McConkey got some moves, but he's not really getting north and south unless there's a bust. Just make sure there's no bust on punt coverage. Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, he's still, maneuvering, making something out of nothing, but he's not getting a whole bunch. And I think we've done fairly well. Every defense, special teams, it's not on them. It's been about a terrible coaching call with the fake punt, and also the offense just not being able to muster up any type of rhythm. That's the entirety of this game.
Yeah. What do you expect to see in terms of play calling? I think we saw a lot of passing starting out in the game. Empty sets, Tank running out of the backfield. I like how they got the ball to him as a throwing a screen to him, getting him the ball in space. I did like a lot of that. How do you expect more of that from Tank in the second half, or do you expect them to try to line up, try to take the ball out of Ashford's hands? He's been the entire offense for the most part. But what do you expect to see in the second half?
I mean, they did a good job mixing it up with both Tank and Jarquez. They were both in the backfield at the same time at one time.
Yeah.
So I like what they're doing. Now we aren't getting 10, 15, 20-yard gainers out of it because this defense is better than Missouri and it's better than LSU. But we've got something there. It's what they're giving us is just enough room to make some precise throws, and we've got to be able to make it, or some runs where there's just a little daylight, but it's got to be blocked up perfectly. And we've got to get on those blocks and stay on those blocks long enough for our ball carriers to get the room that they need to get 4 yards, 5 yards, maybe 6 yards. It doesn't have to be just killer gains every play. We just need you to be able to keep us on rhythm and on track. And that's for the offensive line and Robbie throwing the ball. Hopefully we see some of it. I would just love to see a drive get us down to the 20.
Yeah.
If we can get down to the 20, kick a field goal, that I would love to see that the first possession we get.
For sure. Definitely want to see the defense get a stop coming out the half. Cam, appreciate the super chat. I didn't see your comment. I don't know if you see it, but if got it. I already got a headache, bro. I feel you, man. Listen,
man, you ain't lying. I got one too.
I would say pop a Tylenol, or you can pop a gummy, do something, man. But appreciate you becoming a member too. Control Chaos, welcome.
Welcome,
We're about to get out of here. The second half is about to start. It's almost underway. Guys, check back with us. Hopefully Auburn covers in this game. Hopefully we make it a game in the second half. We'll see if there's some adjustments, if we clean some things up. But definitely check us here, guys. We'll be here post-game. Always, guys, War Eagle.
Where you go.